The transport ship slowly moved toward the massive space station. Inside, 5 human students pressed their faces against the windows. They had never seen anything like Vorthon Galactic Academy before. The station was huge, with silver towers that twisted into space like metal trees. Colored lights moved along its walls like water. Jiho sat quietly in his seat, watching everything with careful eyes. He was 18 years old and came from Seoul. His black hair was cut short, and he always thought before he spoke. The other students were excited and talking loudly, but Jiho just watched and learned. Look at that. Minho pointed at a ship with no wings. He was tall and strong, the kind of person who played sports every day back on Earth. His smile was big and bright. How does it even fly? Yuna looked up from her tablet. She had been reading about alien technology since they left Earth. Her long black hair fell over her shoulders as she leaned forward. Anti-gravity engines, she said. The aliens stopped using rockets thousands of years ago. Nari smiled at her friends. She was good at making people feel better when they were nervous. This is so amazing, she said. We're going to meet students from all over the galaxy. Taemin bounced in his seat. He was the youngest of the group and wanted to see everything. His eyes were wide as he watched alien ships fly past their window. Do you think they have games like we do? He asked. The transport ship landed with a soft bump. The doors opened with a hiss. Cool air flowed in, smelling like flowers and metal. A tall alien woman walked toward them. She had blue skin that looked like crystal, and her eyes were silver. She moved like she was dancing. Welcome to Vorthon Galactic Academy, she said. Her voice sounded like music. I am Director Veltara. We are honored to have Earth's first students here. The humans grabbed their bags and followed her. The docking bay was enormous. Ships from dozens of worlds sat in neat rows. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved around, loading cargo and talking in languages the humans had never heard. Jiho saw a group of tall, thin aliens with 4 arms. Their skin was green and they had no hair. Near them, small, round aliens rolled. Instead of walking, they looked like living rocks with friendly faces. The galaxy has over 2,000 intelligent species, Director Veltara explained as they walked. Our academy brings together the best students from 300 of those worlds. They entered a long hallway with walls made of something that looked like flowing water. Pictures moved inside the walls, showing scenes from different planets. Minho saw a world covered in purple trees. Yuna watched a planet where cities floated in the clouds. Nari gasped at a world that seemed to be made entirely of crystal. Your dormitory is in the cultural exchange section, the director said. You will share living spaces with students from other worlds. This helps everyone learn about different ways of life. They reached a big room with comfortable chairs and tables. The ceiling showed a view of space with real stars moving slowly overhead. About 30 alien students were already there talking, quietly or reading. These are your fellow students, Director Veltara announced. Everyone, please welcome our friends from Earth. A student with dark purple skin and silver eyes approached them. He was tall, and his movements were smooth and careful. I am Kyle, he said. I come from Kethvar. My people are interested in how your minds work. We're interested in how your minds work too, Nari said with a smile. Kyle tilted his head, as if he was listening to something the humans could not hear. Another student came over. This one was short and round, with skin that changed colors like a rainbow. Lights moved under her skin in patterns. "I am Vera," she said. "I speak with light as well as sound. Your arrival makes us very happy." The lights under her skin turned, bright yellow. More students gathered around. There was Grix, who looked like a walking tree with golden bark. There was Zeph, whose body seemed to be made of living metal. Each alien was more amazing than the last. "We have heard much about Earth," said a student named Thoric. He looked like a bear, but walked on 2 legs and wore robes. "Your world sounds very active." "Oh, yes," Taman said excitedly. "We love to play games and run around. Recess was always the best part of school." The aliens looked confused. Kale's silver eyes became brighter. "Recess?" he asked. "Free time," Minho explained. "You know, when you get to play games and have fun with your friends." Vera's skin turned a curious blue color. "What kind of games?" Jiho thought for a moment. "Well, we play tag, and hide and seek and capture the flag. Sometimes we play dodgeball or have races." The aliens nodded politely, but they still looked confused. "These sound like thinking exercises?" Grix asked, his wooden voice creaking slightly. "Not really," Yuna laughed. "They're just fun. You run around and try to win." "Winning?" Thoric's bear-like face scrunched up. "You compete against your friends?" "Sure," Taman said. "Competition is fun. It makes you try harder." The aliens looked at each other with expressions the humans could not read. They seemed to be having a conversation without words. Director Veltara clapped her hands together. The sound was like 2 bells ringing. "Now, let us show you to your rooms. Tomorrow you will begin classes. You will study galactic history, interspecies communication, and conflict resolution theory." "Conflict resolution?" Minho asked. "Yes," the director said. "How to solve problems without fighting. It is one of our most important subjects. Most species learned this skill long ago. Physical conflict is very rare in our galaxy now." The humans followed her through more hallways. Their rooms were nice, with beds that felt like clouds and windows that showed different views of space. Jiho's room had a view of a nebula that looked like purple smoke. Yuna's window showed a planet with 3 moons. That night, the 5 humans met in the common area. The alien students had gone to their rooms early. They seemed to spend their free time reading or meditating. "Did you notice how they looked at us when we talked about games?" Nari asked. "Yeah," Minho said. "Like we were speaking a different language." "Maybe they don't play games the same way we do," Yuna suggested. Jiho was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I think we need to be careful. Some of the things we said seemed to worry them." "Why would games worry anyone?" Taman asked. "I don't know," Jiho said. "But we should watch and learn before we say too much more." Outside their window, the stars turned slowly. Somewhere among them was Earth, where children were probably playing tag in schoolyards and racing each other in gymnasiums. Here in the galaxy, those simple games might mean something very different. The 5 humans went to sleep, not knowing that their innocent words about recess and games had already started whispers among the alien students. In a galaxy where most species had forgotten how to fight, the idea of competitive play was both fascinating and frightening. Tomorrow would bring their first classes, and with them, more questions about the strange, active world called Earth. 3 weeks had passed since the humans arrived at the academy. The alien students were kind and helpful, but something felt wrong. During recreation time, while their new friends sat quietly reading or making soft music, the 5 humans felt restless. Jiho sat in the garden area, trying to meditate like Kale had taught him. The purple-skinned alien sat nearby with his eyes closed, perfectly still. His breathing was slow and deep. Jiho tried to copy him, but his legs wanted to move. His mind kept thinking about running and jumping. In the study hall, Yuna worked on her homework with Vera. The rainbow-skinned alien's body showed calm blue and green lights as she read. Yuna's fingers tapped on the table. She kept looking toward the windows, wishing she could go outside and do something active. Minho found it hardest of all. Back on Earth, he played soccer every day after school. He ran for miles and lifted weights. Here, the strongest thing he did was carry his books. His muscles felt tight, and his energy had nowhere to go. "Are you feeling well?" Grix asked him one day. The tree-like alien's golden bark creaked with worry. "You seem agitated." "I'm fine," Minho said. But he was not fine. He felt like a caged animal. Nari tried her best to fit in. She joined the alien students for their quiet conversations about philosophy and art. But even she missed the loud, happy chaos of human recreation. She missed laughing until her stomach hurt and running until she was out of breath. Taman was the most obvious about his unhappiness. He fidgeted constantly. During one peaceful music session, he started drumming his fingers on his knee. The sound was loud in the quiet room. All the aliens turned to look at him. "Sorry," he whispered, but his leg started bouncing instead. The aliens began to worry. They had never seen a species that could not find peace in stillness. They whispered to each other in their own languages, their faces full of concern. Kyle approached Yuna after class one day. His silver eyes were bright with something that might have been worry. "Your people seem to be suffering," he said. "Is this normal for humans?" Yuna looked confused. "Suffering? We're not suffering." "You show signs of anxiety," Kale said. "Your heart rates are elevated. Your minds are loud, very loud. My people can sense thoughts, and yours are all moving very fast." "That's just how we think," Yuna said. "But why?" Kyle asked. "What makes your mind so active?" Yuna thought about it. "I guess we're used to doing things, moving around, playing games." Kyle's expression became more concerned. "The games again. You mentioned these before. Perhaps if you explained them better, we could help you." That evening, Vera found Nari in the common room. The alien girl's skin was showing worried orange patterns. "My friends and I have been talking," she said. "We think you need help." "Help? With what?" Nari asked. "You are all showing signs of illness," Vera said. "Restlessness is a symptom of mental imbalance in most species. There are treatments we can try." "We're not sick," Nari said. "We just need to move around more." "Move around?" Vera's skin turned confused purple. "But movement during rest time is inefficient. Why would you want to waste energy?" Minho joined the conversation. "It's not wasting energy. It's fun. It makes us feel good." "I do not understand," Vera said. "Feeling good comes from peace and quiet thinking." "Not for humans," Minho said. "We feel good when we play and compete and run around." Thoric overheard them. The bear-like alien walked over with heavy steps. "Did you say compete?" he asked. "Yeah," Minho said. Try to win against each other." Thoric's expression became very serious. "Why would you want to defeat your friends?" "It's not about defeating them," Nari tried to explain. It's about everyone trying their best. It makes us all better. But someone must lose, Thoric said. How can losing make someone better? The humans looked at each other. They had never thought about it that way. To them, losing was just part of playing. You lost sometimes and won sometimes, and both were fun. More. Alien students gathered around. They all had the same worried expressions. Grix's bark was turning a darker color. Vera's skin was flashing orange and red warning patterns. Even calm Kale looked disturbed. Perhaps we should inform Director Veltara, Kale suggested. If humans need special medical treatment. We don't need medical treatment, Taman said, louder than he meant to. We just need to play. The aliens stepped back. Taman's raised voice scared them. In their worlds, loud voices meant anger or danger. I'm sorry, Taman said quickly. I didn't mean to shout. It's just, we're not sick. We're just different. Jiho had been quiet during the whole conversation. Now he spoke carefully. Maybe we should show you what we mean by games. Then you would understand. Show us? Grix asked. Yes, Jiho said. Instead of just talking about our games, we could demonstrate them. Would that help? The aliens looked at each other. They seemed to be having one of their silent conversations again. That might be wise, Kale said finally. If we could see these activities, we might understand why you need them. I will speak to Director Veltara, Vera said. Perhaps she will allow a demonstration. The next day, Director Veltara came to see the humans. Her crystal blue skin looked worried. I understand you have been having difficulties adjusting to our peaceful environment, she said. We're trying our best, Nari said politely. We just have different ways of relaxing. Your fellow students are concerned about your mental health, the director said. They report strange behaviors and talk of competitive activities. They're not strange to us, Minho said. They're normal human activities. Director Veltara studied them with her silver eyes. Very well. You may use the gymnasium tomorrow to demonstrate these activities. Perhaps if we understand them better, we can help you adapt. Thank you, Jiho said. I think this will help everyone understand. That night, the 5 humans planned their demonstration. They wanted to show the aliens simple games that would not seem too scary. We should start with easy ones, Nari suggested. Maybe red light, green light, and musical chairs, Yuna added. Those aren't too competitive. What about tag? Taman asked. Everyone loves tag. Maybe, Jiho said thoughtfully. But let's see how they react to the simple games first. We should definitely show them capture the flag, Minho said. That's the best game. Jiho looked worried. I don't know. That one might seem too much like... Like what? Minho asked. Jiho could not explain his feeling. Something told him that capture the flag might not be a good idea, but he could not say why. The next morning, word had spread throughout the academy. Students from dozens of worlds came to watch the human demonstration. The gymnasium filled with aliens of every shape and size. They sat quietly in the stands, their faces showing curiosity and concern. The 5 humans stood in the center of the gymnasium floor. Around them, hundreds of alien eyes watched and waited. The humans had no idea that they were about to change everything the galaxy thought it knew about peaceful species. Ready? Jiho asked his friends. They nodded. It was time to show the galaxy how humans played. The gymnasium was packed with alien students and teachers. They sat in perfect silence, watching the 5 humans stand in the center of the floor. Director Veltara sat in the front row, her crystal blue face showing polite interest. Behind her, Professor Zenvar leaned forward in his seat. He was a Drakmori, tall and strong like a warrior from old stories, but he taught history instead of fighting. "Thank you all for coming," Nari said, her voice echoing in the large space. "We want to show you some games from Earth. These are things we did every day at school." The aliens whispered softly to each other. Their faces showed curiosity mixed with worry. "We'll start with something simple," Jiho announced. "This game is called Red Light, Green Light." The humans spread out across the gymnasium floor. Yuna stood at one end while the others lined up at the other end. "When I say green light, you move toward me," Yuna called out. "When I say red light, you stop. If you move during red light, you go back to the beginning." "Green light!" Yuna shouted. The 4 humans started walking toward her. Their movements were casual and relaxed. "Red light!" They stopped instantly, as if someone had frozen them in place. In the stands, the aliens nodded approvingly. This looked like a self-control exercise, something they could understand. "Green light!" This time the humans moved faster. Taman tried to run, but Yuna called red light just as his foot left the ground. He wobbled, trying not to take another step, and fell over. The humans laughed. The aliens looked confused. Why was falling down funny? "You have to go back to the start, Taman," Minho called out, still laughing. Taman got up, still smiling, and jogged back to the beginning. The aliens watched with growing puzzlement. He had failed the exercise, but he seemed happy about it. The game continued until Jiho reached Yuna first. The humans cheered and clapped. In the stands, the aliens clapped politely too, though they were not sure why. "That was interesting," Director Veltara said. "A concentration exercise with movement. Very energetic. Now we'll show you musical chairs," Nari announced. The humans set up 4 chairs in a circle. Yuna used her tablet to play music from Earth. The 5 humans walked around the chairs in a circle. When the music stopped, they all rushed for chairs. Minho was left standing. He laughed and sat down in the stands with the aliens. "I'm out," he said cheerfully. The aliens found this very strange. Minho had lost the competition, but he was not upset. On most worlds, losing meant shame or disappointment. But Minho looked as happy as the winners. They removed 1 chair and played again. This time, Taman was left out. He high-fived Minho and Dai sat down next to him. The aliens whispered more urgently now. 2 humans had failed, but they were celebrating together. The game continued until only Jiho and Nari were left, circling 1 chair. When the music stopped, they both dove for it. Jiho got there first, but Nari was laughing so hard she could barely stand up. "Good game," she said, shaking Jiho's hand. The aliens were very confused now. Nari had lost, but she was congratulating the winner. This was not how competition worked in their experience. "Very unusual," Professor Zenvar muttered. He was taking notes on a tablet, his warrior instincts telling him something important was happening. "Now for tag," Taman announced, jumping up from the stands. "Tag?" asked Kyle from the audience. "One person is it," Yuna explained. "They try to touch the others. When you get touched, you become it instead." "I'll start," Minho volunteered. He stood in the center while the others spread out around the gymnasium. "Go!" Nari shouted. What happened next made the aliens gasp. The humans exploded into motion, like they had been shot from cannons. Minho sprinted after Taman, who dodged and weaved with incredible speed. Jiho ran up the wall bars on the side of the gymnasium. Yuna slid under a set of parallel bars. Nari vaulted over a pommel horse. The Humans moved like water, flowing around obstacles and each other. Their movements were not just fast, they were precise, calculated, efficient. When Minho cornered Taemin, the younger human rolled under his reach and escaped. When he chased Yuna, she used gymnastics equipment to stay just out of reach. In the stands, Professor Zenvar stood up slowly. His warrior mind was recognizing something the others missed. These were not random movements. The humans were using evasion tactics, pursuit strategies, and environmental advantages. This was not play. This was training. Minho finally caught Jiho by using a pincer movement, approaching from two directions at once. Jiho became it, and immediately began hunting the others. His approach was different from Minho's, more patient, more strategic. He watched their patterns, learned their movements, then struck when they least expected it. The aliens watched in stunned silence as the humans ran, jumped, climbed, and dodged for 10 minutes straight. When they finally stopped, all five were breathing hard but smiling widely. "That was great," Taemin panted. "I haven't run like that in weeks." "I feel so much better," Minho agreed, stretching his arms over his head. The aliens stared at them. These humans had just engaged in intense physical activity that would exhaust most species, and they looked refreshed and happy. "One more game," Jiho said. "Capture the flag." Professor Zenvar's tablet fell from his hands. In the quiet gymnasium, the sound echoed like a gunshot. The humans set up their game quickly. They divided into two teams, Jiho and Yuna versus Minho, Nari, and Taemin. Each team had a colored cloth they placed at opposite ends of the gymnasium. The goal was to capture the other team's flag and bring it back to your own side. "Ready?" Jiho called out. The teams took positions. What the aliens saw next would change everything they thought they knew about peaceful species. The game began, and the humans transformed. Gone were the laughing, friendly students. In their place were focused, determined competitors who moved with military precision. Jiho immediately sent Yuna wide to the left while he moved straight up the middle. It was a classic diversionary tactic. Draw attention with the frontal assault, while the real attack came from the flank. Minho recognized the strategy instantly. He positioned Nari to intercept Yuna while sending Taemin to circle behind Jiho. It was a counter-pincer movement designed to trap the attackers between two forces. Yuna reached the enemy flag but found Nari waiting for her. The two girls circled each other like predators, each looking for an opening. When Yuna feinted left and went right, Nari was ready, cutting off her escape route. Meanwhile, Jiho and Taemin engaged in what could only be described as combat. They moved like trained fighters, each trying to get past the other to reach their objectives. Jiho used the gymnasium equipment for cover and concealment. Taemin responded by cutting off his escape routes. The aliens watched in growing horror as the humans displayed tactical knowledge that most military academies would be proud of. Hand signals passed between team members. Coordinated movements trapped opponents. Feints and misdirection confused enemies. When Minho finally broke through to capture Jiho's flag, he did it using a three-point attack that overwhelmed the defenses. Through superior positioning and timing, the humans cheered and congratulated each other. They shook hands, laughed about good moves, and critiqued their own performances. "Nice flanking maneuver, Yuna," Minho said. "Thanks. Your pincer attack was perfect," she replied. "I should have watched the left side better," Jiho admitted. "Next time," Nari said with a grin. In the stands, absolute silence reigned. The aliens sat frozen, their minds struggling to process what they had witnessed. Professor Zenvar was the first to speak. His deep voice carried clearly in the quiet gymnasium. "Director Veltara," he said slowly, never taking his eyes off the humans. "Those were not games." "What do you mean?" she asked, though her voice suggested she was beginning to understand. "Those were military training exercises," Professor Zenvar said. "Advanced military training exercises. What we just witnessed was tactical movement, evasion, and pursuit protocols, and coordinated assault strategies." The humans looked confused. "What do you mean?" Jiho asked. "We were just playing." "Playing?" Professor Zenvar's voice was filled with awe and terror. "Young humans, you just demonstrated combat techniques that most galactic militaries abandoned centuries ago. What you call games are what we would call war preparations." The gymnasium erupted in whispers and gasps. The alien students looked at the 5 humans with new eyes. Not as friends, but as something far more dangerous. The humans stood in the center of the floor suddenly alone as the truth of what they had revealed began to dawn on everyone present. They were not just students from a distant world. They were members of a species that trained for war from childhood, and they called it play. The emergency meeting lasted all night. Every teacher and administrator at Vorthan Galactic Academy sat around a large table in the main conference room. Director Veltara had called them together after the human demonstration. Her crystal blue face looked worried and tired. Professor Zenvar stood at the front of the room, displaying images on a large screen. He had spent hours researching human history after watching the games. What he found terrified him. "I have reviewed Earth's historical records," he began. "What we witness today is not unusual behavior for humans. It is normal, standard, expected." He touched his tablet and pictures appeared on the screen. They showed human children playing in schoolyards all over Earth, running, chasing, competing, laughing. "These activities begin when human children are 3 or 4 years old," Professor Zenvar continued. "They continue for 12 to 16 years of their educational development. Every human child participates daily." Dr. Lithora, a small alien with 6 arms and purple skin, raised one of her hands. She was the Academy's expert on alien psychology. "Professor, are you suggesting that an entire species trains their children for combat?" "I am not suggesting it," Professor Zenvar replied, grimly. "I am stating it as fact." He showed more images. Human sports competitions, military training exercises, playground activities. To the aliens, they all looked the same. Organized combat preparation. "Look at this," he said, pointing to a picture of children playing dodgeball. "They are training rapid reflexes and evasion tactics. This one," he switched to a picture of soccer, "teaches teamwork, territorial control, and strategic positioning. And this," the screen showed a playground with children running and climbing, "develops physical conditioning and obstacle navigation." The room was silent except for the soft humming of the space station's systems. "How long does this training last?" asked Professor Kithmak, a tall alien with golden skin who taught peaceful conflict resolution. "Based on their school systems, approximately 6 to 8 hours every day for 16 years, Professor Zenvar answered, "with additional voluntary training in their free time." Dr. Lithora's 6 hands fluttered nervously. That level of conditioning would create soldiers of extraordinary capability. "I have run the calculations," Professor Zenvar said. A human child who completes this training program would have physical abilities 300% above baseline for their species. Their reaction times, cardiovascular efficiency, and tactical thinking would be superior to most galactic military personnel. Director Veltara spoke for the first time since the meeting began. But they show no aggressive behavior. They are polite, friendly, eager to learn, which makes them more dangerous, not less, Professor Zenvar said quietly. A species that can prepare for war while maintaining peaceful attitudes. We have never encountered anything like this. The screen changed to show combat analysis from the Capture the Flag game. Professor Zenvar had recorded the whole demonstration and studied it frame by frame. Watch this movement, he said, highlighting Jiho's actions. Classic infiltration tactics. And here, he showed Yuna's flanking maneuver. Textbook pincer movement. These students executed military strategies that most galactic commanders would struggle to coordinate. But they called it fun, Dr. Lithora said weakly. Yes, Professor Zenvar agreed. They enjoy combat training. They find warfare preparation recreational. This is perhaps the most disturbing aspect of all. Meanwhile, in their dormitory, the 5 humans sat together in confused silence. The alien students had avoided them all day. Even their roommates had moved to different rooms. Word of the demonstration had spread throughout the academy, and everywhere they went, conversations stopped and aliens stared at them. Taman was the most upset. I don't understand, he said. We were just showing them our games. Why is everyone acting like we did something wrong? Because they think we're dangerous, Jiho said quietly. He had been thinking about Professor Zenvar's words all day. They think our games are military training. That's crazy, Minho said. They're just games. We play them for fun. Are they just games? Jiho asked. Think about it. In tag, we learn to chase and evade. In Capture the Flag, we learn strategy and tactics. In dodgeball, we learn to avoid projectiles and work as a team. Yuna looked uncomfortable. When you put it that way, we never thought about it like that, Nari said. To us, they're just normal. Maybe that's the problem, Jiho said. Maybe things that are normal to us are scary to everyone else. There was a soft knock at their door. Grix stood in the hallway, his golden bark looking darker than usual. The tree-like alien seemed nervous. May I speak with you? He asked. Of course, Nari said, always ready to be friendly. Come in. Grix entered slowly, as if he was afraid they might attack him. I wanted to ask you something, he said. The games you showed us, are all human children required to play them? Required? Minho thought about it. I guess so. I mean, everyone plays during recess. It's just what you do. And if a child chooses not to play... The humans looked at each other. I don't know, Taman said. I never met anyone who didn't want to play. But what would happen to them? Grix pressed. They'd probably be lonely, Yuna said. All their friends would be playing together. Grix's bark creaked with what might have been fear. So your society forces all children to participate in combat, training through social pressure. It's not combat training, Minho protested. It's just playing. But Professor Zenvar showed us the analysis, Grix said. The movements, the strategies, the physical conditioning. How is that not combat training? The humans had no answer. They had never thought of their childhood games as anything more than fun. My people need to know, Grix continued. Are humans a warrior species? Are you here to study us for invasion? What? Nari gasped. Of course not. We came here to learn and make friends. But you are all soldiers, Grix said. Trained from childhood, even if you do not realize it. We're not soldiers, Jiho said firmly. We're students. Students who can execute military maneuvers that most galactic armies cannot perform, Grix replied. Students who find combat training enjoyable. A new voice spoke from the doorway. Students who are about to be expelled. Director Veltara stood in the entrance, her silver eyes sad but determined. Behind her were two security guards from species the humans did not recognize. I am sorry, she said, but the Galactic Council has made their decision. You are classified as a pre-conquest military species. Earth is to be quarantined, and all human students must leave the academy immediately. But we haven't done anything. Wrong, Yuna protested. You have demonstrated military capabilities that exceed our safety protocols, Director Veltara said. Your very presence here is now considered a security risk. Security risk? Taemin's voice cracked. We're just kids. You are members of a species that trains children for warfare, Director Veltara replied. Whether you understand it or not, you represent a potential threat to galactic peace. The security guards stepped forward. They were not threatening, but their meaning was clear. You have 24 hours to prepare for departure, Director Veltara said. I am truly sorry. Under different circumstances, you would have been welcome here. She turned and left, the guards following. Grix looked at the humans one more time, his wooden face showing something that might have been sadness or fear. I'm sorry, too, he said. I hoped we could be friends, but my people are afraid of what you represent. He left them alone in their room. The 5 humans sat in stunned silence, trying to understand how playing games had made them enemies of the galaxy. Outside their window, alien ships moved through space in peaceful formations. Somewhere among the stars, Earth continued its orbit, unaware that its children's laughter and games had just marked humanity as a threat to galactic civilization. The humans had come to the Academy to learn about the universe. Instead, they had taught the universe to fear them. The humans spent their last night at the Academy in their rooms, packing their few belongings. They were scheduled to leave in the morning, but none of them could sleep. The excitement they had felt when arriving was now replaced by confusion and sadness. Jiho stood at his window, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, where children were probably playing tag and having fun without knowing that their games had scared an entire galaxy. He felt responsible for what had happened, even though he could not understand why. A soft knock came at his door. Jiho opened it to find Professor Zenvar standing in the hallway. The tall Drakmori looked tired, but his eyes were bright with thought. May I speak with you? The professor asked. I guess, Jiho said. He was not sure if he wanted to talk to the alien who had convinced everyone that humans were dangerous. Professor Zenvar entered the room and sat down heavily in a chair. I have been studying your species all night, he said, and I think I have been wrong about something important. Jiho sat on his bed, waiting. Your games are indeed military training, Professor Zenvar continued. But I have been thinking about why your species developed them. Most galactic species evolved past the need for physical combat millions of years ago. We solved our conflicts through negotiation, technology, or simply avoiding each other. So? Jiho asked. But Earth is different, the professor said. Your world has always been dangerous. Natural disasters, predators, competition for resources. Your species had to learn to survive in ways that others never needed to. Jiho thought about this. You mean we play fighting games because our ancestors had to fight to live? Exactly, Professor Zenvar said. Your games are not preparation for conquest. They are preparation for survival. There is a very important difference. But the Galactic Council doesn't see it that way, Jiho said. No, they do not. But perhaps they should. Professor Zenvar leaned forward. Tell me, Jiho, do humans fight each other often? Not really, Jiho said. I mean, sometimes there are arguments or conflicts, but most people try to get along. And when conflicts do happen, how are they usually resolved? Jiho thought about it. People talk it out, or someone in authority helps them solve the problem. Fighting is usually the last option. Interesting, Professor Zenvar said. So, despite all this combat training, humans prefer peaceful solutions? Of course, Jiho said. Fighting is not fun when people get really hurt. Professor Zenvar stood up suddenly. Would you be willing to help me with an experiment? What kind of experiment? I want to test something, but I need your friends too. Can you gather them? 20 minutes later, all 5 humans sat in a classroom with Professor Zenvar. He had also invited a few alien students, Kyle, Vera, Grix, and Thoric. The aliens looked nervous, but curious. I want to try something, Professor Zenvar announced. I want the humans to teach these volunteers some basic defensive techniques. Defensive? Minho asked. Yes. Not how to attack, but how to protect yourselves and others. Can you do that? The humans looked at each other. I think so, Nari said. For the next hour, something amazing happened. The humans taught their alien friends simple defensive movements, how to dodge incoming objects, how to work together to protect someone in the middle, how to quickly move away from danger. But more importantly, they taught them the human way of thinking about these skills. It's not about hurting anyone, Yuna explained as she showed Vera how to duck and move. It's about keeping yourself and your friends safe. Competition does not mean hatred, Jiho told Kale as they practiced a simple evasion exercise. It means everyone trying their best. Even if I win, I want you to do well too. The goal is not to defeat others, Nari explained to Grix. The goal is to challenge ourselves and grow stronger together. The alien students were amazed. As they learned these techniques, they did not become aggressive or violent. Instead, they became more confident and capable. They learned to protect without learning to attack. Most surprisingly, they began to enjoy themselves. When Thoric successfully dodged a soft ball that Taman tossed at him, the bear-like alien laughed with genuine happiness. When Vera managed to coordinate with Kale to shield Grix from multiple directions, her skin lit up with bright, joyful colors. This is remarkable, Professor Zenvar muttered, taking notes. They are learning combat skills, but their personalities remain peaceful. Director Veltara appeared in the doorway. She had come to check on the humans before their departure, but stopped when she saw what was happening in the classroom. What is this? She asked. An experiment, Professor Zenvar said. Watch. He called out a scenario. Vera, imagine someone is threatening Grix. What do you do? Without hesitation, Vera moved to place herself between the imaginary threat and Grix. Kale and Thoric immediately moved to support her, forming a protective formation around their friend. Now, the threat is gone. What do you do? The aliens relaxed immediately. They did not pursue the imaginary enemy or prepare for further conflict. They simply returned to their normal, peaceful states. Fascinating, Director Veltara said. They learned to defend but not to attack. The humans have taught them something we thought was impossible, Professor Zenvar explained. How to use martial skills for purely defensive purposes. One of the Academy's communication systems chimed. Director Veltara activated it and a hologram appeared. It was Admiral Corvin from the Galactic Council, a stern-looking alien with blue skin and 4 eyes. Director Veltara, the Admiral said, we have received troubling reports about a demonstration at your academy. Are the human students still there? Yes, Admiral, but they should have been expelled immediately. We have new intelligence about a threat to the Outer Rim. The Void Swarm has been detected approaching our galaxy. We cannot have potential military threats behind our lines. Professor Zenvar stepped forward. Admiral, with respect, I believe, you should reconsider. Professor? The Admiral's 4 eyes focused on him. The humans are not a military threat. They are a military solution. The skills their species developed through evolution make them uniquely qualified to help defend against external threats. Explain. Professor Zenvar gestured to the mixed group of humans and aliens. Watch this. He set up a simple scenario. The aliens represented civilian populations. The humans represented defenders. When he called out incoming threat, the humans immediately moved to protect the aliens, using everything they had learned from their childhood games. They formed defensive perimeters, evacuated civilians to safety, and coordinated their movements with military precision. But when the threat was over, they immediately relaxed and checked on their alien friends. There was no aggression, no desire to continue fighting. They had defended effectively and then returned to peace. The humans do not fight because they love war, Professor Zenvar explained. They fight because they love peace, and that makes them the perfect defenders. Admiral Corvin was quiet for a long moment. Are you suggesting we recruit them? I am suggesting we learn from them, Professor Zenvar said, and let them teach others what they know about protection and survival. Director Veltara spoke up. I propose a new program, Cultural Defense Exchange. The humans remain at the Academy not as students, but as instructors. They teach defensive techniques to any species that wants to learn. Admiral Corvin looked at the humans, who stood quietly waiting for the decision that would determine their fate and possibly the fate of their entire species. Very well, he said finally. But they will be closely monitored. And if the Void Swarm arrives... If the Void Swarm arrives, Professor Zenvar said confidently, the galaxy will be ready. The hologram disappeared. Director Veltara looked at the 5 humans with new respect. It seems you will be staying after all, she said, but in a very different role than we originally planned. 6 months later, when the Void Swarm finally reached the galaxy's edge, they encountered something they had never seen before. Civilized species that knew how to defend themselves. Peaceful aliens who could coordinate defensive strategies. Entire worlds that could evacuate quickly and efficiently when needed. The invasion failed not because the galaxy had become warlike, but because it had learned to protect what mattered most. And at the center of this new defensive network were 5 humans who had never forgotten the most important lesson of their childhood games. That the point was not to win, but to make sure everyone could play again tomorrow. In the Academy's gymnasium, alien children now played tag and capture the flag, learning the ancient human arts of survival and protection. But they also learned something even more important, that strength used to protect others was the greatest strength of all. The galaxy had discovered that sometimes the best peacekeepers are those who understand conflict well enough to prevent it. And sometimes the greatest defenders are those who learned their skills through laughter and play, never forgetting that the goal was to keep everyone safe and happy. Human recess had indeed been combat training. But it was the kind of combat training that led to peace, not war, and that made all the difference.